So Darren, you're here with Kendra Carter, Sampras Services.
Yep.
Kendra, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
This
Happy to be here.
place is absolutely gorgeous. Tell everybody where we are because it's super special.
So we're at One Museum Place here on Peachtree Street, directly across the street from the High Museum of Art. It is an exceptional building that literally complements the amazing art that's inside the High, another piece of art directly across the street.
So whose house are we in?
We are in John Whelan's personal home here at One Museum Place. He lives here, gets to have the beautiful view of the High every morning while he has his coffee, and also is responsible for this amazing piece of art as well.
Yeah, we're gonna hear a little bit about Kendra's background and how she's become such good friends, I would say,
True.
with John at this point, right?
Yes, I would agree.
You know, so throughout the house, I mean, there's absolutely stunning artwork, and you know, like you said, it complements being across the street from the High Museum of Art. We're in the art district, right in Midtown Atlanta. Kendra, tell everybody first of all what your business is all about, and then we'll get into like some history.
Perfect. So Sampras Services, it's just a small company. We offer different construction services. We do single family build, but we also do a lot of consulting, which is actually what I did on this project. I do different consulting from budget work for single family residential, customer relations, which is a big piece of my project, a big project that we do. We work on actually the relationship with the customer to take it off of the builder so that the builder can focus on building, and we manage the actual customer piece and the customer satisfaction piece for them.
Well, talk about you told us a couple different stories about, you know, how you got started. You know, you graduated from college in the early 2000s, and then you went to work straight for Whelan Company?
I did, yeah. So I, little tidbit, I took construction in high school. Where I went to high school, we had construction. I took it all 4 years of high school and loved it. Never thought it'd be a career, but got out of school in 2001 when the economy in Atlanta was booming and the housing business was more than hot. So I was like, well, let's go try that. My dad's a real estate broker, and I thought I know enough about it. So I went to work for John Whelan right away, back when, you know, job openings were still posted in the paper. And so I literally responded to an ad in the paper and got an entry-level job at one of their support companies, actually, working with a great team of women that we were responsible for all the lighting and plumbing in Atlanta, and then worked my way up from there.
So you know, in 2001, it's, you know, here we are in 2023, things are a little bit different. I mean,
Correct.
2001, you know, what was it like being a builder, you know, a female builder in a male-dominated industry?
Correct. Well, we had Blackberries, right? And so communication's a lot different now, and definitely better now. Being a woman is definitely interesting in the construction world. I think that for me personally, I always just felt like whatever negative energy was out there, I didn't want to be a part of it. So when I was on job sites and something was going on, as a woman, if I heard things or saw things, I just kind of walked away and remembered that I get to do what I love every day. And I also had really just great people around me that lifted me up, encouraged me, great men and women that allowed me to be myself and learn, but also supported me when those bumps did come. Like, it was never about being a woman, it was about being good at what you did, right, and taking care of the customer. So, as it should be, right? I mean, correct.
If you're good at what you do, that should be the only thing that matters.
Correct.
So, but you know, you had to, having the vision to hire, you know, somebody fairly new in the industry and being a female at that time, I mean, I have to imagine that was sort of, had just had great vision and could see beyond his years.
Correct.
You know?
So Bo O'Kelly of O'Kelly Properties here, he owns O'Kelly Properties here in Atlanta. He was my first boss in the construction world. And I remember when I met with him the first time, he was like, you are excited, you want to be here, you want to work hard. And that's what he looked at. He didn't look at the fact that I was young or that he wanted somebody that wanted to show up at work every day and give it 110%. And he believed in me. There was a great guy that worked on site with us named Brian Mathern. They literally were the foundation of my career and poured into me. They made me better. They encouraged me. When those bumps hit, if it was something that I didn't want to necessarily have to work through, they always were the first ones to step up and be like, you know, she's here, she's working, this is what we're doing. And so I'm very, very grateful for them. And obviously after all the years of working and being around John Whelan Homes and Neighborhoods for all those years, I got to know John, and he is as equally supportive and kind. Rob Myers is another one who works for Colonnade Properties. Same, I've just always had some of the best people invest in me, which allowed me to, you know, do what I wanted to do and thrive, woman or not. So that I'm very, very thankful.
So walk us through, the second part of it. We got the beginning stages. What sort of took place after that? I mean, you started getting bigger and bigger projects, maybe bigger neighborhoods, and then all the way up to when they brought you on to this particular project.
Absolutely. So I worked for John Whelan Homes and Neighborhoods most of my career. I actually did take 1 year off, I was telling you earlier, and it was nowhere near the support that I had before. And so I knew that I had to get back, and so I was glad to be back. Like I said, I've worked with a lot of really great people, and I'm very thankful. So I came back, and then in 2012, my daughter was sick, and that's when I went out on my own as a consultant with the support of a lot of these people I've named. Like, they were like, go open your company, your consulting company, and we'll help you, and we'll hire you, and you can help us. And so how I got here was a great friend of mine that worked for Whelan was in a meeting, and they needed help here, and he put my name out there, and John called, and I got to spend 4 great years here. It was supposed to be 1, ended up being 4 thanks to COVID. It was a tedious process. I tell people it was definitely days that driving here was not exhilarating, and definitely days that driving down here was. But now that it's done, it's like just seeing this beautiful project here and what it has become is just really exceptional. And to share a quick short story with you, Brassville Gorey, who built the shell, their main superintendent on site, Mitchell Trotter, it's just a little small town Canton story. He worked for Brassville Gorey, built the shell. I working on the Whelan side. Mitchell's dad and my dad play golf together. I've known him my whole life. So the first day when I came to work, it was just such a small world. They're like, oh, well, Brassfield's building the shell. I didn't know anybody. Yeah. And I happened to go into a meeting and find out, he wasn't there, but I happened to find out he was the lead superintendent. And, that was always great to have a little hometown here too. So
what I just heard was the OTP, outside the perimeter folks, were actually responsible for all the great and masterpieces ITP. That's right. That's what I just heard. Yeah, Mitchell, just know you heard that, right? Yeah. So, yeah. What a great story. Yeah. So, all right. So they brought you on, and talk about the challenges of COVID. I mean, you're not building just a single family residence. Correct. You're building. Tell us again how many units or how many homes are in this complex. Correct. There are 44 homes here, and all different types of folks that either live here full time, live here part time. So it definitely had its challenges as far as like, oh, well, they're in Singapore for a month. So when you have to call them get up at 2 a.m. and make a phone call. So different challenges than what you're used to for sure, just because of the clientele. But I will say, like during COVID, on a single family job site, you could literally put a section of plumbers that work together every day, and they could be together because they work together, because Governor Kemp allowed us to be essential. Yeah, right. But on a job site like this, it's hard to separate folks, so sure. We did the best we could. The lead builder here, J.R. Morindo, was amazing at making sure all those pieces were where they should be, and just did a great job of managing that. And we were able to continue working and get people in their homes, which is good. Awesome. Yeah. Talk about some of the different, there's technology, throughout all the homes here. Give us some highlights of some of the amazing technology that you guys have. So for me, probably the coolest piece is when you pull in, you have a key fob like you do for your car, and it opens the gate, and then it opens up your garage as you pull in downstairs, which then calls the elevator, which calls you to your home. You're not going up an elevator to a long hallway, you're going up an elevator to your home. Right. It just gives it a different feel. That for sure is a pretty exceptional part. A personal piece that I just think is amazing is here during the day, Toyin, the young man you met earlier, I think he's exceptional. Just the personal service that we have here 24 hours a day is awesome, and just the safety and security of that. He's been here since the beginning. Really? And he just does a great job of taking care of the construction workers and the homeowners and all of us. He just has done a great job. Also too, just the electronics on the inside of all the homes. All the homeowners are very savvy and know all the things, and they've all been different. Yeah. Some people don't want any, some people are like, we just want to keep it simple. And then some people, they can literally turn their HVAC on from all parts of the world, so it's definitely different. And it sounds like they are traveling to all parts of the world. All parts of the world, yes. Obviously you have a different clientele. I mean, the budget for a home like this is pretty tremendous. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And you get to this point in your life, the people that buy these homes, and they know exactly what they want. They're in a position to do exactly what they want. And it's kind of exciting. I tell people I get to make people's dreams come true. They see something, we get to try to figure out a way to make it happen.
and figure out how we make that work. And it's really exciting. It's a really, if people would look at home building instead of it being a headache, but look at it as like, I get to be a part of a really important part of somebody's life, I think that personalization makes the home building experience very, very different.
I agree. So you mentioned, building a dream. Talk about, you told us a story earlier about John Wheeling having a vision, having a dream to build this. I mean, before we get to that, let me ask you this real quick. Would this be his masterpiece home, like project?
Correct. I would say, I've never heard John use this word, but I use this word that I think considered a legacy project. John has done amazing things across the Southeast, but especially Atlanta.
Sure.
Donating part of the high, some of the amazing things he's done, not just professionally, but personally, he and his wife, Sue. But for me, this building is just stunning, sitting here on Peachtree Street. And to me, I would consider it that. I think he dreamed of having a statement piece like this, and he made that come true. And there are exceptional people that get to live here and be a part of it. Right. And I tell people all the time, even through the headache, to be a part of this project and have it on my personal resume, and as a mom of 2 daughters, to get to drive down Peachtree Street and be like, I was a small part in making that happen, it is pretty exceptional.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So before I let you go,
okay,
let's talk, real estate, the market as it stands today in April 2023. So we've got, obviously higher interest rates, we've got a lack of supply, but, every time I turn around, there's new builds taking place here in Atlanta, the Metro Atlanta area.
Correct.
Speak to that.
So I think that there's still niche markets for sure, where people are moving, especially for schools, and also just for being able to get around. I can say even for this building, even during COVID, we were still selling homes because of the, being able to get in and out of the Atlanta airport.
Sure.
A lot of people, as we just mentioned, don't even live here full time, but they're able to get to the airport, get to where they need, and still get back home very easily. So I think you're always going to have those people. I think you're going to have people that it becomes a need to be somewhere where they can get in and out easy. And for me, I think that's huge for Atlanta. Yeah. Having the ability to get to Hartsfield easy from all parts of Atlanta.
Right.
And then I do think a lot of people from Atlanta are looking OTP, right? Like they're starting to realize like there's some really beautiful places outside the perimeter as well. So I think there's still that market for people that maybe live in the city during the week and have other places that they go on the weekends for their family time and things like that. I definitely, we own up at Big Canoe, and I think that places like that still could really thrive, or still doing well.
Yeah, we're in Cherokee County, right? So I mean, Cherokee County has been benefited greatly from, as far as home appreciation.
Oh, absolutely.
And growth due to a lot of folks leaving inside the perimeter and moving OTP.
Correct.
Because they see all the benefits and all the beautiful areas that we have in Cherokee.
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Cherokee County. My 91-year-old grandmother lives within a 5-mile radius of the home she grew up in. All my family is there, and I've seen it obviously grow a ton, but exactly like you said, I think it's such a great place to be. Our schools are outstanding. The people are good people, the people around. And it's absolutely beautiful when you get, and it's still accessible to the city.
Right.
Trust me, I drove down here to the city for 4 years, every day, or 5 days a week. So I know that it's still accessible for sure, and from where we are.
Yeah, connectivity, I mean, is huge. I mean, especially, speaking about connectivity, I mean, being right here in Midtown, I mean, you got MARTA, you have all the walkability of the bars, the restaurants, that live, work, eat, play type of
100%.
Is all right here.
Yes.
Okay, one last question.
Okay.
This one's a tough one.
Okay, before you say this, can I just
ahead.
say, as a native of Cherokee County, one of the hardest things for me when I worked here for 4 years was seeing children, we didn't have a whole lot of children living in this building, but around, literally leave and walk across the street and go get on MARTA to go to school. Like, in my brain, like the Cherokee County resident in me is like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, we just don't do that. But there were children going to go down to Woodward.
I'm having anxiety thinking about my daughter.
Yeah, exactly,
right now.
exactly. So just talking about the
yeah.
difference, something so simple, but just, of being inside and outside the perimeter.
I mean, we're debating whether or not we're going to let our daughter take the bus,
the
school bus.
Exactly.
So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
All right. So tougher question.
Okay.
Nobody seems to have the answer, but I just want to get your take.
Sure.
And actually, I read a few things in that John has mentioned, Mr. Wheelan has mentioned and talked about affordability.
Correct.
Okay, so that seems to be the major problem in the U.S. right now is home affordability. Prices are high. Obviously, interest rates are high right now. How does one, somebody getting started, get into an affordable housing? What's the solution, or what's your thought? I mean, just brainstorm on that.
So one thing I did in 2007, I got to go to South Africa with the National Association of Women in Construction in 2007, and actually go into squatter villages where people literally, Khayelitsha right outside of Cape Town, and see people trying to have their own space, but literally in tent housing. So I feel like I've seen, and then here I stand in, this beautiful home. Like I've seen a lot of different homes for folks.
Right.
I say this, I got a great piece of advice as a young person is, don't ever live above where you're supposed to be. And I think as Americans, sometimes we get so worried about keeping up that when we make home choices, we make home choices that aren't necessarily affordable, even if they were affordable, if that makes sense. So I think that people have to make choices that is comfortable for them, not necessarily what they want right now, but where it's comfortable for where they are, and then dream for this. Like dream for the home. Like I feel like sometimes we're like, but I want it now.
Yeah.
And I think that comes with affordability, right? Because you really need to truly be able to afford it to live comfortably.
Right.
As far as housing and all goes, I can't tell you when I think it'll ever go down or if it will. As somebody who builds houses every day and people are like, oh, well, what's the price per square foot today? I'm like, there isn't one anymore.
Right.
Like it just doesn't exist because we just don't know at any given moment what's not available or what is available. The homeowner I built a house for on Lanier recently, we literally made so many changes because we'd pick a tile, what's not available for 6 months, or we'd pick an appliance, what's not available. I mean, honestly, the refrigerator he wanted wasn't available for 1.5 years. So, you can't put a number to that when you're looking at paper like we used to could.
Sure.
We used to could, when I first started at Wheeling, we'd have a home that we'd built, 50 times, and there would be a team of amazing people that knew that house was going to cost X, and we were going to make X, and we could sell it for X.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That time is, obviously people are still trying to do it, but it's just a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the variables are constantly changing.
Always, yes.
So you're constantly having to change that P&L to figure out what your profit margin is.
Correct, exactly.
And that's one of the challenges that I see. I mean, obviously, is if you're a builder, of course you're in it to be profitable.
Correct.
If you can build a $400,000 house and make X percent versus a $200,000 and make that same percent, I mean, to me it's tough. How do you incentivize a builder to do something like that? So, question for another day. I don't have the answer. I don't think you've got the answer.
No, I wish I did.
I wish I did
I don't
too.
think we'd be standing here if we had the answer right now.
We'd be living here.
That's
maybe,
exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, Kendra, thank you so much. Again,
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely tremendous. You guys did a phenomenal job. This place is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We absolutely love it.
Appreciate it.
Good to have you.
Thank you.